Well, hey, rail fans and model railroaders. Welcome back to another episode of Getting Back on Track with Steve
and Roxy.
Now, last week, we got really busy with that track work. We laid new track from our switching area over by the swing bridge on that upper elevation across over above the peninsula and added 2 new turnouts.
So this week, we're going to start from those 2 new turnouts. Dad's going to get in there, cut and fit all the track work, and then I'll get in and do all the gluing down and get everything laid in nicely.
Excellent. So now, finally, we're starting the peninsula. So with that being said, let's get this work done. With all of our track pieces cut to fit, we first need to solder our pieces together. Everywhere we have curves, we want to make sure to stagger our joints, so that way as we curve it, we can prevent kinks in the track. Then once all the pieces are soldered together, I can refit them back into position, pin them down. Here I'm using a piece of Luan panel cut to fit between the rails to make sure the track's laying straight. With everything put into place and the previous sanding done on the cork, Roxy will put a bead of caulk down and spread it nice and thin. Then she can replace the sections back in position, shape them, and start pinning them down with thumbtacks. She's going to use plenty of tacks to make sure that everything holds nice and flat and true. I think Roxy's really gotten the hang of this. She's getting pretty fast and pretty good at it. We're skipping putting any caulk underneath our turnouts as we're going to need to remove those later because eventually we want to install tortoise switch machines. And I believe that we'll use track spikes in that time to hold them in place. So here Roxy's going to go ahead and work her way around the corner. That's one big piece of track she's got set this time. So here she's going to go ahead and reattach, fit it into position, and start tacking it down again. And of course, I'm just hanging out and standing around here for moral support and maybe to clean up a little bits of pieces here and there. So after completing the curve, it's on to the incline that returns to the upper elevation loop. Again, spreading a thin layer of caulk. She'll just replace the piece back in position, fit it in. She's making sure it's good and straight, and we'll just pin it right on down again. And here she is also going to lay the first piece of track that goes to the lower elevation on each side of the peninsula. And we'll be working that lower elevation pretty soon. Then once all of the caulk is dried, I'll need to remove all the pins And this is so we can prepare the track so we can test all the joints and the turnouts to make sure everything's good. Using caulk, we can easily pull the track back up if we need to, if we have problems area. But I'm going to use a box car and kind of move through it. Everything looks good. Hook up some power. We'll run a loco through here and we'll test those joints and switches. It's great to see a loco running down across the peninsula now. This is really exciting for us. So moving around the newly laid track, the joints and the turnouts seem to be smooth and they operate pretty well. So I think we're in business here. Well, there you go. We got up there, we hooked into those turnouts on the upper elevation, and we made our nice little loop around on the peninsula.
So on the peninsula, we added 2 new turnouts that enable us to either go back up to the upper elevation or around down to the lower elevation.
Excellent, excellent. So now our focus really needs to be on completing that second main line on the upper elevation. So next week we're going to try and go from where we left off up by the peninsula on around till we hit that truss bridge.
And then we can focus on getting the track around to complete the loop onto the swing bridge and figure out how we're going to hook up the electrical there and get power to the swing bridge and the rest of the track.
Amen. It's going to be a job, but I'm really looking forward to it. Every phase gives us a new challenge and something more to learn, and we're learning as we go here. So with that being said, you guys go ahead and have a great time running your trains, working on your layouts.
Hit like and subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified of our next video.
And we'll see you next time here on Getting Back on Track with Steve
and Roxy.
Bye all.
Cheers.